Hey guys, it's Rob here for Shape Your Future Online. Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to shoot you a quick video today just to talk a little bit about a topic that I'm quite passionate about, which is why we procrastinate. Now, why does that happen? Why do we continuously self-sabotage getting done the things that we want to do, maybe becoming the kind of people that we want to become? Why can't we keep motivated? Sometimes we get very motivated, we get very pumped up for things, don't we? I've done this before. Maybe you've watched some kind of motivational video or a speech and you're all hyped up and ready to do something. Maybe you want to lose weight or something like that. That's certainly happened to me a lot in the past. But yeah, then, you wake up the next day and that motivation, that enthusiasm's gone away, and that little voice in your head starts telling you not to do the things that you really actually want to do. So, for me, one of the things that I've realised and that I've been taught a lot about over the last couple of years is one of the reasons we don't follow through on things is because we actually don't really believe in ourselves. Again, we're listening to that voice in our head telling us that we're not good enough, that maybe we're not good as the other people. Someone else can do something, but we can't. And sometimes we can be a little bit afraid sometimes of maybe what it is we're going to become. Quite often we can fear failing at something, but we can also fear of actually being successful at something. And getting perhaps into a position. Maybe it's a higher position at work, or maybe it's completely changing your life like I've done by, quitting my job and, I say quitting, I lost it, but, and then starting an online business. Well, that voice in our head, that ego, we call it, it's really not serving us in this day-to-day modern world. Really, there's a lot of speak about the ego being something that, evolutionary has been very useful for us. It's kept us safe. It keeps us alive. That's its real major function. Back when we were living in caves, when we were these hunter-gatherers, we would, have this little voice to tell you, oh, don't go outside because, maybe something's going to happen to you. Don't go out and travel too far and forage too far for food because at the end of the day, you're going to get jumped on by a wild animal or something like that. And, those people that did forage out there would probably have got killed. And, it's survival of the fittest, isn't it? It's a bit of evolution going on there to why perhaps that ego stayed around. Now, that, as I say, just doesn't serve us, does it? In this modern day life, maybe it's telling you don't go for that promotion, or don't try and change your life. Don't go and ask that person for a date. Don't get up and speak in front of people in case, you might look stupid. Well, we often want to do those things, don't we? And we're stopping ourselves. We're self-sabotaging. So there are a couple of things here that I've found very useful over the past couple of years, which have really transformed my life and helped me to propel myself forward and to become more successful. The first thing is, whatever it is you're trying to change in your life, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, it could be something quite trivial, it could be something quite profound, but one of the main things to really start to help you achieve something is to start to really understand what it is that you want and why it is that you're doing it, especially the why. That's so important, especially if it's some kind of transformation that you're looking for in your life. So for me to not go back to a life, a 20-year life of working 12 hours a day and bringing my work home and never getting to spend time with my wife and my family, been very, very stressed, anxiety, depression, alcoholism in the end for me. I had to change my life and start this online journey that I've done. I had to really start to get clear on what it is that I wanted and why I was doing it. And one of the exercises that I learned was to visualise. I still do it every day now, is to visualise and understand what your ideal day actually looks like. You know, instead of being sat in front of that computer, or, you know, for me, driving up and down motorways, you know, going to see people on appointments in sales calls, instead of doing that mundane crap, what do you want your ideal day to really look like? And now I'm really starting to live that. So for me, it was all about, you know, just being able to see my kids off to school, to spend time with my wife, to see my wife working in the garden. She's not working in the garden now because it's raining, but she has been earlier this week, and just to see the pleasure on her face, you know, when she's in amongst the weeds and doing the gardening, because that's where she's in her element. And to, you know, have the time to go to drug and alcohol recovery meetings, to participate in them, to now be building a charity with my friend now, you know, to help people in addiction. So I sat down and visualised and really thought about the things, you know, and just greater than just wanting to quit your job. What do you really actually want out of your life? So these were some of the things, and I'd encourage you to start to do that if you really want to transform your life. Really understand what it is that you're going after. And then the second thing, I guess, is we need to really actually believe that we can have these things. We need to believe that we can actually live this ideal day, and we need to understand what kind of person that we're going to become and how we're going to do that. And that really comes into believing in yourself. But that's the biggest problem, because that's where we all tend to fall down, and certainly I did in the beginning in my transformation, because I looked at other people and I thought, well, yeah, they can do it, but look at how they speak, look at how they act, look at the actions that they take. I'm not really sure that I can do that. You know, I'm just recovering from drug and alcohol addiction here, you know, a year or so ago, and so we really need to start to dial into who we want to be. I mean, that belief, really, we've got to start to set goals in the mindset of that person that we want to become, should I say. You know, what is it your future self would do? What actions would you take as your future self to propel yourself forward? And not just the kind of actions that you might think that you would take now. I'm talking about bigger actions with more purpose, because we can all think about, you know, we want to quit our jobs and we want to start this online business malarkey that all these people are talking about. But believe me, once you get to a point, because I haven't worked for 2 years in what you'll call a normal job, you know, when you get to a point where you have time freedom to do whatever you want, you really need to start to have a bigger sort of purpose in your life, because, you know, what you're going to do with your life, sit down and watch TV all day, might sound great at the moment, and I'm not saying that I might not do that on the odd day, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing it. I'm actually talking to a friend the other day. You know, he travelled the world for the best part of a year, but he couldn't do that forever. You know, after about 9 or 10 months, he was kind of thinking, well, I need to start to really propel myself and start to think what it is that I want to do with purpose in my life. So again, for me, you know, I don't sit around the house doing nothing all day. I spend about half of my time working on my online business, but I'm spending half of my time getting in there with people with the early stages of drug and alcohol addiction and trying to change their lives. So, you know, once you start to think being that person who you would be in the future, you know, what kind of actions they would take, you know, when you can start to dial up and step into the mindset of that person that you want to become, that's when we can start to really start to create some change. And the same guy that I'm talking about, who someone that I know who's you know, spent the best part of a year traveling after he'd transitioned from, working in a corporate role to working online and, just traveling around the world. He has this great exercise which he calls the crystal ball exercise. So imagine that you've got a crystal ball and you can look into that and you can see the future. Imagine if you could, you looked into that and you could see with utter certainty that you were going to succeed in whatever it is that you want to do. Let's say it is transitioning, because you're on my email list here, right? You've clicked on my ads, you've come through here, you've been interested in looking at maybe transitioning out of a corporate role and into an online business. If you could know with certainty that you would succeed, no matter what, you would succeed, and you would be living your ideal day, what actions would you take right now to make sure that that becomes a reality? If you know with certainty you can't fail, the only way that you can fail is by giving up. You either give up or you die trying. It doesn't matter how many stumbling blocks that you come across, how many hurdles you have to go over. If you're not going to stop until you get that life that you want, what actions are you going to put in place today to make that first step to getting the ideal life that you want? So hopefully that's been useful for you. It hasn't been too much of a ramble. I've used these kind of tools, this kind of mindset, this kind of thinking to start to create the kind of life that I want. And I'm almost there. I'm almost there, people. So hopefully that's useful, and I will catch up with you on another video. Bye now.